Hey, it's Steve, welcome back to Clear Direct. You all know the Backcountry Bogey. We're gonna get to 5 items that have been just kind of driving me crazy that either aren't done yet, minor things, or things I need to fix that'll really add to the polish and finish of this airplane, because it's getting towards April. Before you know it, we'll be at air shows and in the backcountry. So I want this tip top for that season. First up, a quick update on flight test. Flight test is going so well, I couldn't be more happy. We're about 11.5 hours on the engine. I changed the oil at 11.1, sent in an oil analysis. The only 3 little things that have gone sideways, which are so minor, are number 1, a few loose screws in a high vibration area. Right here, the gear strut fairings. This is a fairly high vibration area. You can see why. Its proximity to the exhaust and airflow right there. So these screws, I lost one, and so I've put blue Loctite on the rest of them, and that pretty much fixed that problem. The next one is, we're gonna get more into this in the rest of the video, so I'll just kind of intro it right here, is this does not fit real well, and I'm not very happy with it, and so we gotta figure out what's blocking that right there. And then the last thing was just some avionics squawks that were my fault. I didn't calibrate the Adahars on the G5, as well as I'm getting a hardware fault on the G5, and then the G5's battery is one of the bad lots that just won't charge. So those super minor avionics issues rounds out the trifecta of super minor issues. And again, I just couldn't be more happy with how it's flying. She's just a joy to fly. I'm getting better at landings. The tail wheel is still sporty and squirrely, which is definitely why I'm not flying today, because the crosswinds are about 13 knots, gusting to about 22. That gives me into the aesthetics. So I'm going to introduce all 5 of these, and we're going to get into actually working on them. So the first one you can see above me right here are the Aerosport Products wing cuffs. I'm going to get them painted to match the red color and get them installed, final installed. You can see these are kind of the cheesy ones that come with the kit, just a thin ABS plastic. I knew that they were going to get replaced, so I didn't even spend the time and money to paint those. So the next thing, a couple things on this door. We already hit this gap right here. In fact, I've just taped it on the passenger side just to prevent it from flapping in the breeze, and it's been cold out, so it keeps it a lot warmer right there. And as you can see, I don't have the vinyl stripes. It didn't work out great because I did it too cold and I didn't heat this up, so it didn't bend the corner. We're gonna pull that off and fix that with some heat. The one thing that does drive me the most crazy in this whole video is right here. Hopefully you can see that. I'll get some B-roll if not and add it right here, but this window kind of popped out, right? So this extruded piece of aluminum is meant to capture both pieces of Lexan and keep them down. And we'll get into why that popped out. It was kind of an issue that was in the instructions. I used the wrong material, or at least I used the right material, what they told me to use, but I think they printed it wrong. They fixed it in the manuals now, but I used foam tape, which was called for, instead of VHB tape. So we're gonna be, unfortunately, drilling out, and it happened on both sides, drilling out all these beautifully painted rivets to secure that window in place, because right now you slip and it kind of pops in and out. So that's definitely not good. Number 4, I'm really excited about this, is getting the vinyl on the Skylight here. That should go on really smooth. There's really nothing stopping me from doing that. And then the last thing has to do with speed. And before I get into it, I want to ask you guys, do you know on the Titan IO-340, I have not been able to find this from either Rands or from Continental yet, so if you know, please let me know. Is there a time limitation on the 2700 RPM? Just kidding, I have an answer. Obviously, it took me a long time to edit this video. It's a little bit stale, I apologize. But the answer from JB at Continental, straight from the horse's mouth, is, quote, there is no time limit on running at 2700 RPM as long as temps are in the green. Continental is testing and documenting a high compression 340 engine now in order to publish manuals. Hopefully we'll have an official operation and maintenance manual later this year, along with an illustrated parts manual and overhaul manual too. Awesome. Thanks for the answer, JB. That's hugely helpful. Now back to the video. But if there's no restriction, I'm going to keep that pitch and go 2,700 RPM and get the most speed out of this airplane as I can, which brings me to my last thing, which is both technical and aesthetic. So, flying around at cruise, the maximum speed I can generate, I'm staring back at an elevator that looks like that. Okay, so what that tells me is, oh, that's another thing. I gotta take off some of this old remnant stuff from the balancing, clean that up. You can see how dusty it is too. But I've got to use some down elevator to fly straight at cruise. Okay, so clearly that means that this horizontal stabilizer needs to come up a little bit so that this doesn't need to be pushing down, creating some induced drag. So once I do that, then I can finally put on the fairing right there and maybe get a couple micro knots out of that. But I think the main thing will be getting a couple extra knots when the horizontal stabilizer is in line with the slipstream, i.e. 0 incidence or 0 angle of attack at cruise. So raising the incidence. Okay, that's the intro to all of the things that we're gonna get after. Let's show you some more detail on the Aerosport Products wing cuffs. Clearly they're the ones who make a lot of the aftermarket carbon fiber products. This is not carbon fiber. You might have seen in other videos, I've got some blue tape on some of these quarter turns, and what I've been battling is getting the right length. I might have talked about this before, but I'm down to just 2 left. I got everything fitting well except for these 2. So I've got 240 written right there, and then this one, I'm not sure what to do there because the longest one I have does not fit. So I could potentially source a longer one somewhere else or just change the style of fitting. I don't know. So let me know if you've got suggestions for me on that. It's flying just fine in this configuration right now. I'm not worried about it. Okay, back to the door handles. Speaking of that, Rans has improved this door handle from plastic. It doesn't fit real well to aluminum, so that's going to be something I upgrade to eventually. But this just drives me crazy, especially because it used to fit perfectly flush. My initial suspicion was that this thing was causing it to bow out. So that's the right door. Back to the left door. So I removed it and no luck. So I've drilled out the rivets for that little plate, and you can see where that bar is contacting the aluminum, so I gotta get it back in here ASAP before it damages this aluminum too bad. But you can tell that the door still doesn't close right. So my next thought was, and still is that it might be the gas strut. So since the gas strut is putting such a pressure on the door frame that it's kind of bending it outward. So I'm going to remove the gas strut and see if this sits back flush again. If it does, I mean, it's not like I can not have that gas strut in there. So the other solution that I've been thinking about is building this up, is creating another one of these striker plates and pushing that further out so that forces the door a lot more tight and secure. I've got a friend in Western Oregon that is, my DAR told me this because he's their buddies, is that he was going to build up something with, I don't know, fiberglass or something right there to just essentially block the air. And while effective, it's a little bit inelegant, and I don't want to have to get that painted or have it made out of clear plastic because that'll just break. So that's a bit frustrating, so I'm gonna get after figuring that one out. Okay, I brought the door home just for a little bit more comfort. Brought my tools. You can see where it's attached right there. Flip it over and I'll start to drill out these rivets. Oh, I really don't want to do this. I think this is a 1/4 inch drill bit, and what I'm doing is I'm creating an exit point for all the backs of the rivets because I don't want them rattling around for, years on end. So it just opens it up, allowed me to extricate the backs of the rivets. After a lot of trial and error and a lot of expletives, I found that the best solution for my case was to split all of the stripes. So there you have it, split them, they curved a lot better, and overall, in the end, super happy with how it turned out. I got this door line looking a lot better. What I did was add a bushing to the shaft exterior to the door, just inside of that handle itself, and that just brings the door super snug against the fuselage now. On the right side, I did something a little different because there wasn't room to add a spacer, as I doubled up the striker plate. And so now they're fitting great. And then you might be able to see I added foam. Here, better shot here. I did foam just to kind of protect the paint as well as just seal it off from any drafts, and it is wonderful. Okay, we're getting Skylight covered. Solo ops today, wish me luck. I think it turned out pretty good. What do you think? It'll look even better in the sunshine. I told you this would look good in the sunshine. Doesn't that look good? Looks pretty darn good. And so do the stripes on this door. Still need to redo the pilot door. And so I've got the wingtip off. Why is that? I'm gonna add a couple mounts here for pole for a little 360 cam footage. It'll be kind of out here. Fun. Ooh, so much prettier. Time to install them.